Oh, Shannon, there is new reaction this morning after North Korea tests yet another provocative action by testing another missile. U.S. officials say Kim Jong-un's regime test-fired that missile on the country's east coast along the Sea of Japan. But that test reportedly failed, the missile blowing up about 5 seconds after it was launched. You know, this comes just days after President Trump warned about North Korea's continuing behavior.
At meetings on North Korea, he's acting very, very badly. I will tell you, he's acting very badly. Thank you, folks.
So, can the regime be reined in? John Bolton is the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, a Fox News contributor, and chairman of the Gatestone Institute here in New York. Ambassador, he's belligerent, brazen, defiant, and Kim Jong-un shows no signs of backing down. And there are fears that he could be practicing a possible first strike on the U.S. What do we do?
Well, and I'd add irrational to that. Even though this test appears to have failed, you know, U.S. rocket scientists in the 1950s used to say when our Vanguards and Jupiter Cs were blowing up on the launch pads that they were 90% successes because they learned from their failures. There's no doubt that North Korea, particularly over the last 8 years, has made a lot of progress in getting to its objective of deliverable nuclear weapons. And we've had American and South Korean military officials say that their ability to do that could occur very, very soon. In fact, some people have estimated next year. So we're running out of time here. The administration is reviewing its options. Some have talked about imposing new sanctions. I'm certainly all in favor of that. The Bush administration never should have lifted the sanctions. But I don't think that's nearly enough. I think this risk is palpable. And I think the only long-term solution, which is reunification, we may be running out of time on. We don't appear to be raising it with China, which has unique leverage over the North. So I'm extremely worried. And I'm worried not just about North Korea, I'm worried about Iran, too. How long would it take for Iran to get a deliverable nuclear weapon? Roughly 1 day after North Korea gets it.
Yeah, they're apparently working together. You mentioned the administration of Rex Tillerson's meeting in Beijing. Do you think the Chinese will finally play ball? I mean, they have not done enough through all these years. The president's been very critical of them. 90% of the foreign trade, including the oil, they did suspend the coal. But, you know, they could turn the lights off in Pyongyang if they want, and they haven't done that.
Yeah, there are reports North Korea is just selling its coal into China through a different route. Chinese have been playing a double game on this for 25 years, saying we want negotiation, also saying they don't want North Korea to have a nuclear weapons capability because it would destabilize Northeast Asia. But they have failed to do what they alone have the capability of doing, which I think is the real objective here, and bringing the regime down in a way that leads to a sensible reunification of the peninsula. People say, oh, the Chinese will never accept that because they don't want American troops on the Yalu River. And it's true they don't want American troops on the border. We don't want to be on the Yalu River either. There is a way to work this out. But it's not to talk about restraining North Korea's nuclear weapons program. It's to talk about ending North Korea through cooperation between the United States, China, Japan, South Korea.
Well, they didn't even go that far. I mean, they just wanted us to not have military exercises in exchange for a freeze. I mean, what type of deal is that?
Well, forget it. That's no deal at all. And that's why I think we've made mistakes these past 25 years. We've been trying to negotiate with North Korea. We've promised them economic advantages. We've even, under the Clinton administration, promised them nuclear reactors. None of it's worked, and there's no evidence that after 25 years of failed negotiation, year 26 would bring a different result. So I think Secretary Tillerson was exactly right in his visit to South Korea to say negotiation's not the answer here. Negotiation with North Korea. We've got to get to China. We've got a very limited amount of time. And I just underline again, whatever North Korea can do in a year or 2 years or 3 years, Iran will be able to do it immediately.
Yeah, and finally, look at this belligerent language by Kim Jong-un. This is his New Year's message, quote, "We conducted the first H-bomb test firing of various means of strike and nuclear warhead tests successfully to cope with the imperialist nuclear war threats," that's us, "and entered into the final stage of preparation for the launch of intercontinental ballistic missile. We must put an end to the moves for aggression and intervention by foreign forces, including the United States, that is occupying South Korea." So finally, Ambassador, it seems their view of us occupying South Korea, we've got 28,000 troops, potentially they could be in danger.
Well, I think that goes to the irrationality of the regime. Look, this kind of rhetoric is second nature to them. They've got playbooks made up of it. Next we'll hear about a sea of fire rolling across the peninsula. The problem is that at some point the irrationality may kick in at a moment when we don't expect it. The longer this regime continues to exist with nuclear and, let's not forget, chemical and biological weapons, again, that threaten the innocent civilians of South Korea, it's a danger worldwide.
Very unstable. Ambassador John Bolton, always good to see you.
Thank you, Eric.